Good evening, my fellow Axians. It's been another great day in this 2023 June July electoral cycle for the Wax Office of Inspector General. One of the great things that happened today is that the incumbent Kiefer rejoined the race. Joined the race, I should say. He's a great man, and I'm happy that he's running, and I look forward to having a purposeful and productive exchange of ideas with him over the course of this election. So it's really great to see that he's running again. So we can cross-pollinate our ideas about the future of the chain. I should probably do a beard check though, because apparently that was an issue last time around, as was my mic placement, as was my suit. One of the rather unfortunate things about this campaign is that today was sullied by elite members of the chain, wax OGs, who decided that when a candidate for office didn't want to discuss matters with them because he saw it as a conflict of interest, that personal attacks pertaining to appearance, body weight, and such variables were appropriate. And again, I'm a big boy in the literal sense and the figurative sense, and I can definitely handle this nonsense. But it also shows the moral depravity that's associated with this wax OIG culture. Wow, that was a Freudian slip. This wax OG culture. A lot of this happened in a Telegram room called Wax Unofficial. It's actually run by Kiefer, the incumbent. He owns the room. I have to say that I find it quite troubling in the context of that type of targeted harassment, that someone would A, not denounce it, and B, would not do anything to sanction the individuals undertaking or using such words in their room. I run a server too, and I know I most certainly would. I would call on Kiefer to do that if he thinks this is appropriate. I mean, evidently not, but if he thinks it's not, it would thus be logical that something be done there. But either way, this is not going to affect how I campaign. I just think it's an indication of the sentiment of entitlement that some of these OGs have within this bizarre hierarchical culture of what's supposed to be a horizontal, decentralized chain entity. So I'm troubled by this. You come at someone with an idea, they come at you with an insult about stuff in your beard or your suit being ill-fitting or being overweight. What, 28% of the American population is morbidly obese? I don't know. I'm Canadian, but it's something high like that. But yeah, it is what it is. But maybe we can change that together. Policy-wise, today, I was going to come to talk to you about the 2 policy points that I plan on writing out tomorrow, which were part of my initial campaign outline. And these are universal self-identification of all candidates and criminal background checks. In the first instance, and I can't say for certain that none of the current members of the OIG are fully self-doxed. In other words, have identified themselves publicly. One of them might have, the Joseph fella. I'm not sure. But it seems that the others are either operating under single names or aliases. And I find this to be deeply, deeply troubling. These people hold offices with significant levels of responsibility. In fact, they're an oversight body. And in this respect, they also hold control over large amounts of cryptocurrency. And the fact that they're not publicly identified, at least to the public at large. And we're not talking about home address and telephone number here. Don't get me wrong. We're just talking about, name, location, general location would be fine. Is bothersome because it illustrates that there's this kind of laissez-faire attitude regarding security and integrity here on this chain. If the chain truly cared about ensuring transparency and integrity, members of the OIG would publicly identify themselves as who they really are in real life. And I would urge all current members of the OIG to do so, and to instill a mandatory policy wherein the type of full self-identification that I've undertaken for my own campaign is the norm, because with great power comes responsibility. And I can see some examples where this might be prohibitive. For example, a person living in a country with a significant level of repression. And in those cases, there are solutions such as third-party trust companies, notably in Switzerland, that can confirm an identity and do it as a trust. And, I don't know if Wax is willing to pay for that, but if one such candidate is facing such issues, and that's the reason why they haven't identified, I'm happy to defray the costs of that identification and certification. And along with that comes the question of criminal records. As far as I know, there are no background checks undertaken vis-a-vis those who are sitting on the OIG. And given, again, the large amount of cryptocurrency that they handle every evaluative cycle, I find this to be incredibly troubling and potentially dangerous. Excuse me. I hurt my leg right there. And yes, I would call upon the OIG to proactively provide, certificates of clear criminal records to the public and to the chain in the context of their own self-identification. And it doesn't matter if they've been arrested for marijuana or for protesting something. What we're really looking at is violent crime and crimes of moral turpitude, and also financial crime. Those would obviously disqualify a person from holding a position of trust such as these. So if the members of the OIG have nothing to hide, I don't see why these record checks would not be made public. IGs are not just regular members of the chain. They are responsible for decisions that impact the entire chain and which involve a very, very high degree of financial responsibility. And in that respect, I would argue that a high level of transparency is necessary in relation to their activities. Ultimately, though, I'm still a candidate for office. And hi, Master AIs. Hey, Stellic. Nice to see you in the chat. I'd love to see every single one of you vote this July. But vote for me. But more importantly, just go vote. Turnout in the last election grew like almost tenfold compared to the previous one, but is still abysmally low. And the reality is that the block producers, who are portrayed as holding all the power in these elections, only really hold 1% of all staked wax on the chain. So your vote could actually matter if enough of you turned out, and you could make a difference, and you could change this chain for the better. And that's what I'm urging you to do. I'm going to urge you to do this again and again and again. No matter who you're going to vote for, come out and vote. That's what's most important. Don't take this election for granted. The world of crypto is changing, and we need people who are going to proactively take steps to ensure integrity, transparency, and structural viability in relation to chain governance if we are to be able to thrive. Thank you so much again for your time. Have a wonderful day. Cheers, Kevin.